Yes, welcome to another episode of the Nana Yayabwa Show. My name is Nana Yayabwa and I am your host. As usual, we bring very intriguing and life changing, transformative conversations to you. We look at the lives of people making an impact in our societies here and beyond. And today we have with us a very dear sister, Kasharo Nyenyenzi. Did I get your name correct?
Yes, you did. Hello.
Yes. So Kasharo was born in the DRC Congo and was she experienced the war that broke the country apart, but at present is working with the community to bring the country back on its feet. I'm highly interested in Kasharu's story because not many people impacted by war are able to get back on their feet and give hope to others going through the same situation. So I would say welcome and thank you for granting me this interview, that I hope that many of us will learn from it and transform our lives and know that there is hope. So, like I themed this, interview, journey to recovery, giving hope in the Congo DRC. So, Kasharo, you talk to us about who you are, how you grew up in the Congo, and what you see the future for us. So, who is Kasharo Nyanyenzi? I love your last name, eh? It is so Nyanyenzi. It has that vibe to it.
Yes, Nyenyezi. Excuse me. Nyenyezi means star. A
Star.
star. Yes. So,
Okay. So we have a star in our midst.
yes, you
Welcome to the
do.
Nanaya Yepwe Show.
Yes. Thank you for having me, my sister Nana. Um, like my name says, it's star in English, and I can start by the reason why that name.
Hmm.
So I was born, and when my mother was going to have me, she was walking to the hospital before I was born, so she did not get me, she did not have me in the hospital, so, but on her way to the hospital.
So she
And in
had
the
you on
dark,
the roadside.
yes, and in the dark, and a star fell off so she can have the light, and then she delivered me by herself on
Whoa.
her own with that star, with the light of the star. That's how I was named Nyota in Swahili, Nyenyezi in Mashi, Étoile in French, Stella in Latin, star in English. So, yeah.
Whoa. Girl, that is powerful. That is
So
powerful. Wow.
I was born from my mother, of course, and my father. He wasn't present while my mother was going to have me.
Hmm.
So I grew up seeing my mother doing development work,
Okay.
seeing how the life is in Congo. Life wasn't that easy before war broke up,
Hmm.
but it was also not difficult as it is now and after the war. So the war made it challenging.
Yes.
So we had food. We never struggled to eat or to do anything or to go to school before the war. We
Yes.
could stay at boarding schools. Parents were affording to pay for their children to attend school, and this was before the war. So I finished my high school in
Yes.
the middle of the war. In fact, I received my results from I was in my city, and the results came from a different city far away from where I live because of the war. The results did not get to each state due to the war.
Hmm.
So I was able to leave my city, which is Bukavu. I went to Goma, which is in North North Kivu. It's in the northern side of eastern DRC.
Yeah.
So I went there for university, And again, I did not graduate because of the Second War. So I was, I don't
When
know.
was this?
This was 1996.
1996.
Yes,
So you were a student or high school or
that's when I graduated from high
high
school.
school?
Yes,
1996.
yes.
Wow.
So, and I left the DRC in 2000,
Wow.
and I went to different countries before I reached the US in 2001. So August 2001, I started my university at the State University of Oneonta in New York. It's
Yes.
upstate New York, where I graduated from international relations.
Okay.
And from there, when I wanted to return to the DRC, this is 2004, 2005, there was another war. I could not return to DRC, so I stayed and I applied for an
Hmm.
asylum,
Oh, okay.
which took me about 2 years to get. Then when I got it, I moved to Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got married. My husband is from back home. He's a medical doctor.
Yeah.
So we had our life, challenging life, and we are living with communities. We took some trainings while
Mm-hmm.
we are thinking about back home.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go back to university to get a master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went back home, this is 2010.
So what did you get your master's in?
So my master's, I haven't been there yet, but I received it in public administration.
Public administration. Okay.
Yes, so I'm trying to give you a journey how I reached to helping hand for survivors.
Yes.
So while we lived in Washington, D.C., we keep hearing people are dying in the DRC, mostly women. My friends are
Mm-hmm.
dying. Some of my friends are going to the forest, they never return. So a lot of chaos going on, and though we lived in the middle of the war, but
Mm-hmm.
we were lucky it did not affect us that much. And
Mm-hmm.
while we are living outside, because
Mm-hmm.
we are in touch with people, we are communicating, and of course, we are watching news, what is going on in the DRC. A lot of things changed.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went there, I decided to go to DRC to do my research before I could
Mm-hmm.
write my thesis.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole reason that I went there is because I was learning that women are dying in DRC with HIV. And I was like,
Mm.
when I lived in DRC, we didn't have HIV. I did not hear a lot about HIV until when I was in the US. So I wanted to really know what is going
Right.
on with HIV in the DRC. So I went to Bukavu and I interviewed some women who
Mm-hmm.
were in the hospital at Panzi Hospital. I'm sure you know Dr. Denis Mukwege, who has a hospital there and who does operation on women who were raped. So
Oh, I- I've heard that name.
yes,
Yes.
so at his hospital, I interviewed some of the women,
Yes.
and that's where I learned that they have been dying with HIV, and some of them have been having children whom they don't know their fathers, like
Yes.
unwanted pregnancies, and they have these children with no fathers. And what else I noticed was like children, small children on the street selling some like peanuts, like candy
Yeah.
so they can survive. And after school, they will run to go to the market to sell those things so they can get money to go back to school. So it was a huge, I was saying like this is a new world in it. And I used to live in this country. This is not
Yes.
how we grew up.
What changed?
So a lot of things changed. Misery. Women are not even thinking anymore accordingly because of the trauma from the rape, from
Mm-hmm.
Hunger, everything was changed. So I finished my interview and I returned home. This is back
Mm-hmm.
2010. So I got home and I told my husband, we need to do something. What is going on back home? It cannot continue like this. We are here, even if we cannot change the whole world, but we can start with something.
Yes.
So my husband decided to go back, and he's a medical doctor, to go back and do and study nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Because I came and I said, my mother used to teach parents how to take care of their malnourished children.
Children. Yeah.
So I don't have much knowledge about it, but I saw what she was doing. She was working with a non-profit organization locally, and we can do this. This organization does not work anymore, and my mother doesn't work anymore. So we need to do
Mm-hmm.
something. So he went back to school, and me, I'm working on my research. I'm writing my thesis. Then I finished 2011. So 2012, I went back to DRC.
So
So
is that when you put the organization together, helping
together,
hand?
yes.
So 2010,
And 12,
2012, you put helping hand for survivors inc.
yes,
Yes,
together.
DRC.
So
And
we
so,
did not start, we started it working just on our own with no registration, nothing.
yes.
So we find some pocket money, we send it home. We have people who also want to do something, but they don't have money. So
Hmm.
once we have some pocket money, we send it, we get something done. That's how we started.
Okay.
And the
So,
idea was just to give back because in my entire life, I left home 1996, and I don't live with relatives all the time. I meet people I don't know, and I
mhm.
live with them. They helped me. They took care of me as if I was one of their sisters, and they don't know me. So how can I pay back these people I don't even know?
Yeah.
And
Pass
maybe
it,
they don't
pay
need
it
my help.
forward. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So you
So the
paid it
only way
forward.
I can pay back is to do something to help another hand who needs that help.
Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful.
Yeah. And how I do it is just to look around and jump in. I don't need protocol.
Yes, yes. So for anybody who sees an issue within society and
Mhm.
wants to, make a transformation help, you don't necessarily need to have, say, um, an NGO organization set up so structurally like all these big ones. You can start and then
Absolutely.
slowly, gradually put it together.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
it, it,
So as you can see, we started
mhm,
2012 and we only registered it in 2018.
mhm, mhm.
So
Yeah.
2018, and still we don't have to have like huge amount of money to help.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you, what are some of the programs within the organization that you guys do? And do you focus on only women, girl, children, boys, men, or you focus on the entirety of society?
So for at the first time, we focused on women who were traumatized
Mm-hmm.
due to rape.
Mm-hmm.
So because back in 2016, me and my husband we went through a training. Uh, it's a training where you learn on how to heal the wounds of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a trauma healing training. We
Mm-hmm.
learn how to facilitate that and how we can support people who are traumatized, whether they lost their loved ones, whether they were raped, whether they they are oppressed by any oppression.
Mm-hmm.
So we started contacting these women in the DRC from Skype. That's when Skype was was like on top.
Yes.
We didn't have WhatsApp, we didn't have Zoom or any YouTube back then.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to call the people in the DRC who are willing to work with us, who are
Mm-hmm.
willing to support those in need, and we
Mm-hmm.
will go on Zoom and we will train them. We will read the Bible, we will do some exercises online
Mm-hmm.
to help these women because some of them did not know what to do with their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And in the DRC, rape used to be taboo. Even if it's being normalized today, it used
Mm-hmm.
to be a taboo. Once you are raped, nobody should know. It was kind of a secret.
Mm-hmm.
But during the war, it came out that, oh, this is normal life. We just rape them and we do whatever we want on them and we go without
Mm.
realizing what impact this rape is putting on this woman, her children, and her society.
But you say something very profound. Rape as an element used in war. But the
Mm.
fact of the matter is, sometimes we need to dig a bit deeper that the war, how it began, and why women and children become the victims more many times than not of this. So if you don't mind, and you could give us a little bit of a country context of what you know is behind this war, and then preceding the rape that comes out of it.
Wow, that is a very big subject. A big
Well,
question you are asking.
it is
So,
true because what you're saying is true because nothing happens out of vacuum. Women are not being raped, and as she said, not being normalized because it was normal. It wasn't. So there is always an underpinning. What happened? The war happened, but what made the war happen for all these ripple effects to occur, and its impact on the larger society. Otherwise, we talk about the people that are raping the women and the victims, but then what instigated all these? The chain reaction.
yeah, so currently what I can give credit to the war in the DRC,
Mm-hmm.
though many scholars, many people have written books and books saying that the beginning of this war was the genocide of in the Rwanda 1994 genocide.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about masculinity as a root of the root like masculinity or patriarchy. Like the men in Africa, they see women as objects, so they have
Mm-hmm.
no respect of women. That is not. So I give credit to colonialization. The colony, Belgian colony in the DRC, which happened years back in 18 something
Mm-hmm.
until 1960. Why I'm saying this? Because this is when the people of Congo started experiencing violence, sexual violence, the violence of the land, and it's because of the the Leopold II was so hungry with the European countries. They were so hungry for minerals coming
Mm-hmm.
from the DRC, which was the rubber and other minerals, rich minerals in the DRC. So how they exploited the land, they actually was raping the land by over exploiting it
Mm-hmm.
and by using people through violence to make them work hard for them to get the minerals they needed. And if
Mm-hmm.
a person did not get a quota of the mineral they wanted, they will cut the hand or they will cut the feet, and they will take their women as a punishment. They will take them and rape them.
Mm-hmm.
This is when those violence started in the DRC during colonization.
Mm-hmm.
So other people, there are yes books that are talking about how it was violent, how the Belgian colony was the worst in the DRC, how they called DRC a failed state, all those things. But that's when the war, I can say, started. That's where Congolese people experienced violence and start seeing it, and the way they were treated by their masters, and clicked it in their mind that this is how you should be treating a woman.
Mm.
So from there, then came the period when the European divided the entire Africa. Remember, Africa used to
Yeah.
live on the continent, people used to live their life as normal
Mm-hmm.
until they came and separate all of them together.
Yeah, the Berlin Conference.
So
Yeah.
then the wall of the Berlin Wall, that's when they divided Rwanda and the DRC.
Mm-hmm.
So
The
that is
partitioning of Africa. Yeah.
another story. But
Yes.
during the 1994 genocide in Rwanda, some of the soldiers ran to the DRC
Mm-hmm.
because there was genocide between Hutu and Tutsi.
Yeah.
So those who were called the genociders were chased and they ran to DRC. And what DRC did was to open their arms. We opened our arms to help these people who are desperate, running
Mm-hmm.
for their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But it turned around. Then these people were killed in the DRC. There were genocides in DRC. No one talked about it because
Yeah.
during that time, now the world is so hungry for minerals and everybody wants to get minerals from the DRC. Look at DRC as a big elephant, and
Mm-hmm.
that is fallen down, and everybody wants a piece of it.
Of it. Yeah.
So this is what happened there. Now we have militias from Rwanda, we have militias from Uganda, we have militias from different countries fighting for minerals, but they are not showing it. As they fight for minerals. Women are being displaced with their children. Women are being raped in front of their children, their families. It's just
Mm.
chaos.
That's awful. That's
Yeah, it
awful.
is. And in the middle of this, a woman is left to take care of the family because the husband probably is taken to go fight. A woman is left with the family. She becomes the head of the family. She has to look for food. She has to send her children to school during the peacetime if there is no war. She has to do everything now as the father and as the mother. So
Yeah.
life changed.
So this has the potential also for intergenerational trauma repeating
Yes.
itself moving forward.
So
Yeah.
what we are dying for in the DRC now, it's the legacy of the colonization,
Mm.
which
Uh,
became also neo-colonization. Like once we got independence, the leaders were not left to decide for Africa, but the colony had to set up policies. This is what you follow if you want to become a president. You have to follow us, and
my
you have
sister,
to do this and this,
if we go
ABC.
on that historical conversation, we will never finish this interview.
Exactly.
Now, so let's come back to your organization, Helping Hands,
For
Helping Hands
survivors.
for Survivors Inc. in the DRC. We're
The
talking about,
department
yes, we were talking about programs, the
programs we
programming
have.
that you have within the institution. Let's talk
Yes,
about those key programs that you are engaged in.
yes. So we do have different programs. Like I was saying, we started with the program to empower women. That's when
Mhm.
we were doing the trauma healing on the Skype. So
Yes.
it was to change these women, to give them hope, to
Mm,
start thinking again, to not see that because I was raped, I can sit down and do nothing, to
mhm,
live in fear. So it was just the message to encourage them.
mhm,
The whole message is biblical based to how to have faith. How
mhm,
that even if you were raped and your family left you around, you still have people who love you. Jesus still loves you. So
mhm.
do not just stay there. You are still loved. You still have a purpose on earth. You can
So,
still raise your children.
as
So that's the empowerment we started. Then we were thinking how to empower them more. so that they can be financially sustainable and
Mm-hmm.
financially sustain themselves, so they can support themselves financially.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the DRC, women usually, not many of them work as men. Like
Mm-hmm.
if 50, let's say over 100, 85% are men, and women like 15 working
Yeah.
in working class.
So
So
I
we
saw
Mhm.
I saw on your website that you guys also participate in farming.
Yes, that's how we empower. We do empower women by agriculture. We use livestock. We give them animals to keep at home, like
Mm-hmm.
animal breeding, so they can eat some of the animals and they can sell some to get
Mm-hmm.
small income of their
Okay.
own.
All
And
right.
once when they do cultivation, they do agriculture, we purchase the seeds for them.
Mm-hmm.
Then when they harvest, they can eat some and they can sell some and distribute some to other women.
Okay.
So we
So
also have microcredit where
okay.
we give women like $50. She goes and purchases something like to sell, maybe bread. Once
Mm-hmm.
she reaches 100, she passes the 50 over
To
another
another.
woman. We
Okay.
go rotations.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's how we support them and empower themselves. So they are learning now how to empower themselves, and they have
Mm.
been doing this since 2019.
Beautiful. So
So we also have a Department of Education.
mm-hmm.
We don't necessarily have education like schools, but we do have students, orphans,
Mm-hmm.
who have nobody to pay school for. And
Mm-hmm.
what I do, I talk to people about those students. And if
Mm-hmm.
I have somebody who can afford like $60 a year, they
Mm-hmm.
can help a child or they can sponsor a child.
Once a
Mostly
child
girls. We have 25 girls.
and no boys.
So yeah, so if anybody wants to help them, they can help them. That's how we send them to school.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah, we
Beautiful.
also have health department,
Mm-hmm.
and under health department we have the wash program where we do it's water hygiene, yeah, water and hygiene. So we have programs where we are now currently producing bleach.
Mm-hmm.
And this bleach, as we produce them, it also goes to empower women because women will take it to the market
To
and
sell.
sell it and
Okay.
benefit from something from it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And we
So
also have a clinic. We have currently two clinics
mm-hmm.
where women come, like women who cannot afford a lot of or luxury hospital, or they cannot afford to go to a big hospital. So we give them affordable care.
Mm-hmm. So
That's what we have.
with all these, since you're not for profit organization, an
Mhm.
NGO, if somebody wants to be part or wants to volunteer or is in the mind of giving, where can they actually go to or who can they connect with in that sense? Does the organization have the website or the telephone number? Or where can all these resources be found by people who may be listening here or abroad, wherever that they are, or even
Mhm.
Congolese who will be interested in supporting this cause?
Oh, thank you. We actually, the whole organization runs by volunteers. No one is paid, including myself. So we all work as volunteers, and we do have a website. We are
Mm,
on social media. We are on Facebook. If you look for Helping Hand for Survivors in the DRC, or you
mhm,
just write Helping Hand for Survivors, you will see us on Facebook. We are on Instagram, we are on LinkedIn, we are on Twitter, and we have a website www.hhsurvivors.org.
mhm.
On there you can find our information. If you want to volunteer, we have a volunteer coordinator, Sarah. You can
Mm-hmm.
find her under our staff and
Mm-hmm.
email her. We also have where you can donate on Facebook by clicking the button donate, or you can go on our website and donate through
Mm-hmm.
PayPal. And now that in Canada, you can go and send, how do you call it? You send money by email. Is that the
Interact.
interact? Yes, you
Yes.
can use info at hhsurvivors.org and it will get there. And
Mm-hmm.
you can choose which department you want to support. If
So,
you want to
okay.
support the hospital, you can say it. If you want to support the women, if you want to support the orphans or agriculture, you choose what you want
Mm-hmm.
to support, or ministry. We also have a ministry where we support
Okay.
widows and orphans in Uganda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we, the Congo, we are still on a journey to recovery, and you are one, probably amongst the many women, giving hope after the war. Hi guys, if you've just tuned in to the Nanaya Yabua show, you're watching a conversation between myself and Kasharo Nyanyanzi, who is the executive founder or executive director of Helping Hand for Survivors in the Inc. DRC in the Congo, and we're talking about trying to recover, giving hope to survivors of the war, enabling and keeping faith alive. But not only that, this work is a selfless work, and it takes um, a person with certain I'm even at a loss of words to say that, to qualify the people who have gone through all this trauma and war and difficulties in life to say this is my purpose in life without a button of an eye, to give to society what they believe is the right thing. So, Kasharo, I'll say congratulations, well done. You are
Oh,
one of the few people that are doing this, and I hope that the world is listening, the world is seeing, and many people who really want to do this will follow suit. I do believe, even if I don't know the Bible, there's one verse that I know. It is in giving that you receive. And
hmm,
you give so much of yourself. And it's something that I'm beginning to see along the trend with people of African descent, that
hmm,
we can change no matter where we are. We
yes.
can change. We should not wait for anybody to come and help us. We can do what we need to do in our own small corners of the continent and
Hmm.
try and make it better. It is better to try than not to try
Than not
at
to.
all. Yes, that is
Hmm.
true. Now, if you've not subscribed, please do subscribe. But key to this is, with every organization, there are challenges, that is for sure. You are here
Yes.
in Canada. The
Hmm.
organization is in the Congo. What are some of the challenges that you face, and how have you been able to overcome them?
Wow, good question. There are a lot of challenges, especially when you are not present
Mm-hmm.
at the field. There is
Mm-hmm.
a challenge of having a board that trusts you and that trusts what you are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you live here, people are looking for numbers. People
Mm-hmm.
are looking for every single thing, pictures that is showing how you are doing and what you are doing. So the
Mm-hmm.
first challenge for me is to make the people who are in the city leave the city and go to the village to get all those data we need here.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you will send a person, oh, it's raining, oh, the car stopped, oh, I went there, the people were gone already. So there are a lot of challenge in infrastructure. That's the first
Yes.
challenge. I don't use I don't see not having money as a big challenge. Yes, it is. Money is very good and it's very, very important. We
Mm-hmm.
need it so we can make sure we have what we need and so that
Mm-hmm.
we can satisfy what we are looking for,
Mm-hmm.
like so we can meet our goals. But
Mm-hmm.
my first challenge first is to get the board here
Mm-hmm.
that is interested in doing the work outside.
Outside. Yeah.
Most people here want their money to go to their people right here.
Mm-hmm.
So to convince them that people outside here are in need and it's important to help them, it's hard. And it takes a good heart and brave person to see that need.
Mm.
So that is my first challenge.
But don't you think it's also a mindset thing? Giving is also a
Of
mindset
course,
thing,
giving
especially
is
with,
a gift. First of all,
yeah.
it's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
So the mindset, you can reset it.
Yes.
Let's say, for example, you have a mindset that I don't want to help people outside Canada or outside America. But when you see other person is helping, you can still try to change your mind and reset it. Or
Mm-hmm.
think about giving. What is giving?
Mm-hmm.
Have you received from somebody before?
Mm-hmm.
Everything you received from somebody, did you pay for it?
Mm-hmm.
Even the air we breathe, do we pay for it?
Mm-hmm.
So to appreciate it, you have to do something for another person. Especially look for a person who does not have the privilege you have.
Mm-hmm.
And it
So
doesn't have to be in Congo. It doesn't
so
have to be
give
in
without
Ghana.
expectation.
Yes.
Give
Give without
without
expectation.
expectation.
Just
But
give.
we give with expectation. If I give it to you, I expect that a year later, if I need it, you do for me.
That is wrong. And give, be a cheer giver. Don't give and while you are regretting, oh, I wish I didn't give her this. Or you giving, let's say, for example, for us people here,
Mm-hmm.
somebody will think if you give 10,000 to Kasharo, to helping hand for survivors, you are giving Kasharo. Let
Yes.
me tell you that that 10,000 will do nothing for me here personally.
Mm-hmm.
It will go over there and do the work.
Yes.
Any penny. In fact, I will have to pay for the transaction myself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So we need to really reset, you use the good word,
Mm-hmm.
reset our mind to
Mm-hmm.
be caregivers, to
Yes.
learn how to give to those who are in need.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't take a lot. You don't need to give a lot of money.
What
$10. You can
there?
choose. Look on the internet, there are a lot of people who are suffering. There are
Mm-hmm.
many, many needs out there. You can choose a good cause
Mm-hmm.
and choose to support that cause you like.
There is one constant complaint about, on the continent doing work, whether not for profit, NGOs, or even business. Let's make it business on the continent when you're not there. Corruption.
Yes,
Yes, corruption.
corruption is real.
Mhm.
For DRC, like I would say when I'm here, you find you are trying to get volunteers, even those who want to go, even those like for example they are doing film or photographers, they want to go and film things in the DRC.
Mhm.
First challenge I have to get them, some of them will say, oh, there is war in the DRC,
Mhm.
oh, the country is corrupt.
Mhm.
Yes, I don't say no, the country is corrupt. It's not only DRC corrupted country. Everybody in every country there is corruption in
Mhm.
a way, but they
Mhm.
know how they deal with it. But
Mhm.
are you going to let half of the population to die because there is corruption? Who is benefiting from that corruption is the
Mm.
question we should ask.
Ask.
These poor community, they don't have water, they don't have food, they don't have anything, no education,
Mhm.
are not corrupt, my dear. These people are not corrupt. In fact, those who are on top, The elites are the one who are dealing with corruption, but they don't lack anything. They have running water in their homes. They have food, even from abroad. They have clothes. They lack nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if I'm talking to you, if you want to give, do not look at the corruption, because the person you are giving is not being corrupted. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you will say, okay, if I give to this organization, I know some of the organization you will give the money and the people put in their pocket, they use it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the organizations that don't advance. And those are the organizations you see, they receive a grant. Once they finish with the grant, the organization is doing nothing. They
Collapse. Yeah.
sit down.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do anything without financing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
helping hand for survivors is blessed.
Yes. Yes.
We will continue by talking to people. We will continue working using what the poor people have in their community. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, they need people to encourage them.
Mm-hmm.
They need people to guide them. Because
Mm-hmm.
a woman may be having a farm and she doesn't know what to do because of the trauma going on.
Yeah.
Once you are traumatized, you are discouraged. You think like anything I do, nothing will happen. If I
Mm-hmm.
do this, people will not even be happy because they are I don't know how to use this word. They have something inside them that
Mm-hmm.
is oppressing them and it's hard to change.
Mm-hmm.
But when you step in, you go there, you talk to them, you give them hope,
Mm-hmm.
you greet them. How can I help you? It does Help doesn't have to be money.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to them, give them an idea. You can use your land and you can cultivate this. And once you get this, you can do such and such and such.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
women in the DRC, not only in the DRC, women who have been oppressed, women who have been traumatized, they need guidance, they need help, they need support. And it's not only financial support.
Good, good, good. So it looks like the country itself is also going through trauma, the war
Yes.
trauma, poverty, decay of infrastructure and or destruction of infrastructure and its decay. And so if we expect the next generation to not repeat the errors of the past, we need to clean up and encourage them and give them a positive impact into society. And as you said, give them a sense of hope. But hope
Mhm,
is not just in the saying, it's also in the practicality of it, which is what your organization is doing. So let's
mhm.
get back to this wonderful woman, Kasharo Nyanyenzi, star of Congo. Hey. So personally now you are in another phase of your life, you doing your PhD.
Yes, I am. I'm guilty.
I, I will not dig too much, but I want to know what your area of focus is and why specifically you chose that area of focus.
Wow. So
Ah,
I'm doing
it's not a difficult question.
it is not. I'm
Yeah.
in a social justice education.
Mhm,
So getting my degree in philosophy. So it's a PhD in philosophy. I'm
mhm,
focused on social justice
mhm,
education.
mhm.
And I'm working on sexual and gender based violence
Violence. Mhm,
prevention.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
So that's what I'm doing. And the whole reason I did this is the women, not only the women in the DRC, but the women who are living an oppressive life. Any oppressed woman, any woman who has been violated in any way, sexual or gender based violence, any woman who has experienced any gender based violence. That's the
Beautiful.
reason, because I want,
Mhm,
in this world, we have a lot of people who come and talk about violence. They don't understand violence. Do they understand what is sexual violence? Like, for example, do men understand what is sexual violence?
Mm-hmm.
Because who raped are men. Men are the one who rape, right?
Well,
So, and the one,
some will beg to differ there circumstantially.
mhm,
Some will beg to differ there. So we
I
can
know.
say that majority
Mhm.
then leave an allowance for the women that rape men as well. We need to leave that allowances because abuse can go to sexual
Both ways.
abuse can go both ways, yes.
Yes.
But within an African context and how we where we speaking from, it is mainly that it's the male female abuse, patriarchy, and power or authority abuse of that. Yes.
Yes, and when we talk about gender, we talk about both men
Yes.
and female. So
Yes.
male and female experience violence when we put
Yes.
gender there.
Yes.
So what I was going to say is
Mm,
anybody who experience violence.
mhm.
I take the side of women, and I will tell you why.
Okay.
Because women are the one who carry everything. The reason why I'm saying why I did this, we
Mm-hmm.
have men who come and talk about violence
Mm-hmm.
when we already know that the majority of men are the one who commit violence. I didn't
Yes.
say women don't commit violence,
Mm-hmm.
but we need a representation of women who can come at the table when the whole world is making a decision. We need women there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to have men every time decide on us
Mm-hmm.
how we should be, how we should feel when once we are raped, and we are the one who know how we feel. For
Yes.
example, if you are raped, would you like a man who will come and say, okay, I'm the one who repaired this woman, this is how she looks, look how her body is, I repaired her, this is how she feels. Does that person know how you feel?
No.
So
Absolutely not.
yeah,
Yeah.
the whole reason I want to do this, it's just for the sake of representation, and
Okay.
to encourage other women to advocate for transformation of what? Of anything,
Mm-hmm.
to make any change
Mm-hmm.
in this challenging and
Time.
oppressive world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I went to study that. Social justice. I'm looking for justice.
Yes. I do believe we're all looking for justice in one way or the other, especially in this day and time. If we
Mhm.
don't if we don't work progressively towards it, nobody is going to. And if we don't create the voice or formulate the voice, then as you hear, somebody else will give you that voice, which is not your voice, which will not tell exactly what you're
Mm.
feeling, as you said. There is a saying, or let me say, Kwejuri Agri, who was an educator in Ghana, and now
Mhm.
they term it as an African proverb, but it's not a proverb. It is a saying by an educator that if you educate a man, you educate an individual. And if you educate a woman, a girl, you educate a nation.
The whole
And
nation.
yes, and I see that more and more of young African women or African women have been proponents of change and transformation, no matter how much, suppressed they've tried to suppress us with patriarchy. We
Mm.
are always trying and given that opportunity, just like your voice, amongst other voices, collectively will help transform the continent of Africa.
Yes.
Since we're coming to the end of this interview, what what sort of advice do you have for us people, the world, in terms of when it gets to, for instance, we are here Congo has gone through its war. You're part of the transformation to actually make it better. There's a war going on in Ukraine, which has affected the whole world. We say the whole world because we see it and everybody is crying. But the Congo, the war in the DRC, Rwanda, was shunned. What message do you have when it comes to accountability for us as citizens of the world?
I would say do not be afraid to speak up.
Hmm.
Do not be afraid to challenge wrong things
Hmm.
and be truthful. That's all I can say. To my women of the world, let us work together in collaboration.
Hmm.
Women who are privileged, wake up and work with other women
Hmm.
less privileged
Hmm.
to advance feminism. And
Hmm.
feminism is not only about female,
Hmm.
but we fight for justice.
Yes.
The injustice is touches everyone,
Hmm.
male and female, and anybody else.
Yes.
So let us fight injustice. Let us fight oppression
Hmm. Hmm.
and
So,
help anytime you have a chance to do so.
okay. Help any chance you have to do so. Thank you so much, Kasharo Nyanyanzi, for being part of this conversation, this transformation, giving hope to survivors of the war in the DRC. I cannot fathom what many people went through because coming from a Ghanaian background, I have never been in such a circumstance. And so I cannot even fathom it, but the images did speak for itself and the trauma that I don't know how people cope, but the trauma. And yes, there's a need for instilling hope to transforming society and hopefully to make it to bring in the Congo back to stand and not flat down on its knees. Thank you so
Mm.
much for granting us this interview. It's been such a wonderful interview, and I hope whoever that listens to this conversation has a lot to learn. We'll put all your information, the information for Helping Hands, Helping Survivors Inc. down
My
below,
pleasure.
and then so people can actually read on you, get in touch, and or donate towards the cause. I think it is a beautiful and selfless cause towards the betterment of humanity. Be your brother and or your sister's keeper. Thank you so much, people. This has been the Nanaya Yebua Show in conversation with Kasharo Nyanyanzi, Executive Director of
Helping hand for survivors. Thank
Yay.
you.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.